mix in some vodka, and call it a podcast. From the Mac of All Trades studio in Fairport and driven by Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, it's Billified, the Bill Moran Podcast.
Well, hello and welcome. Thanks for getting your pot on. Thanks for telling a friend. That's how we spread the word about the pirate ship. And don't forget, there's also condensed versions. So if you don't have time to listen to the whole thing, well, you can get the condensed version, get caught up. Today, though, it's a Hoochenanny. We're talking about the Hoochenanny Whiskey and Music Festival with the, do I say co-sponsor, Sean?
Co-owner, I guess.
Co-owner, right? Yeah.
Yep.
The because I think last year Tommy did this in Geneseo, right. And then how did he rope you into this? Because putting on a music festival is a enormous, and forgive my French, pain in the fucking ass.
Yeah, it is a pain in the fucking. It's a pain in the fucking ass. Well, I didn't know that when I agreed. You know, it just seemed like it would be all fun. So the way it went down, he was definitely like,
hey man.
Well, first of all, we'll go back. Like, I've always like known of Tommy, like we've seen each other. What's up, man? But we didn't get tight really until post COVID, I would say. And then he told me in 2023 he was doing this festival and he had the whole vision. He was excited.
Yeah.
Which of course he needed me for tents. So
right.
I'm like, yeah, dude, we'll do it, and we'll do it for a steal. Like, we gave a massive friends and family discount. And it was a cool event. And I'm like,
that was down in Geneseo at
correct.
The time, right?
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah.
In the fall, too.
Yeah, in the fall, when we say last year now, last year was 2023. So
right.
Last year.
Last year.
But really cool design, really cool concept, of course.
Everything he does has a very cool concept.
100%.
I'm so blown away by that dude, honestly.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He just, whatever he touches, it's a great,
yeah.
He's patient and he waits for it. It comes together nicely. It's just, it's a cool vibe that he has as a human.
That's what draws people into him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So he did it there, and it's like, it's tough to start a new festival out in the farm country, basically.
It is, right.
But he had some success, and of course, the weather, it was October, I think 21st, wasn't great.
You're on it. Yeah, man.
Yep. But it happened, and they did fine the first year. And I just felt like, it was really cool. And I'm like, he's got something here, and I think it could be more, you know what I mean? He can, you just got to get through that first year, right? And just prove that you can do it.
Yeah. Which
they did. And I think he just kind of like approached me last spring, right? Spring of 24. We're in 2025 now, right?
Here we are.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Now that it's a blur.
I know.
It's a blur.
Every day is going by like, it's crazy. But that's how life is. So he approached me kind of just saying, I want to get you involved. And it kind of into the summer became more than that, where Tommy was kind of steering the ship of Hoochenanny, and he needed help, and he just wanted to take on a new partner and kind of eliminate everyone else that was involved, and just be like, let's you and me do this together. And I said yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I got to say this before we get into everything, because I have questions as to how the pitch to the town of Irondequoit, because they haven't done anything like this at Eastman that I know of. I know there's been the Irish Fest and that sort of thing that's spanned a couple of days. Yep. This is a big deal. You have bands that people are out of their minds excited about.
Yeah.
Now, probably one that was commercially known more than anybody is Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, right? And I always was a fan of Joan Jett. Some of her music, like I think the one that is probably her biggest hit, I was always like, eh. But Joan Jett is a fucking rock star.
Yes.
Just in the fact that it was an all women's band. I don't know if you know the Runaways.
Of course.
And Lita Ford was in that band. All these people.
Yeah.
That disbands and she goes and shops. I mean, we're talking like 1980 female in rock and roll. This woman went out and produced her own album. Like now you can do shit at home, right? We're doing a podcast from, you could do it anywhere. Yep. You know what I'm saying? I always joke the barrier to entry is gone.
Yeah.
She, man, was a hustler and went out and did this whole thing. And I always loved some of her more almost 50s style rock that she does. So that's a great one. But then it's
cool.
like the old 97s.
Yeah.
I love the old 97s.
That's the real deal.
Yeah.
They better, I mean, the people who know them know them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mo is another one.
Mo is big. I mean, so Mo and Dark Star, Orchestra together, like that combo, I think, for that scene, for the jam band scene, people are like, whoa.
Yeah.
Which
Goose, by the way, is one.
Goose is
oh, I'm sorry. Eggy.
Eggy's
that's my bad.
One too.
That's my bad.
It's all good. Eggy is also like an up and coming jam band.
Yeah.
And Galactic from New Orleans, who they were like a staple in New Orleans.
So do you know did you have a hand in getting these?
Yeah. Yeah. So some of it was already set in motion kind of when I came on board. So I kind of just went with what Tommy was already trying to do. But what I realized quick, so booking bands, it's a tough world.
Sure.
It's a tough industry. You know, I didn't realize how tough it was to
a lot of times you're looking at their schedule. If they have an off day and they're going to, let's say, a Buffalo, can they come on a Saturday here or a Friday here?
What I found out, it's like, I mean, at least this year we didn't luck out like that. I think the bigger your festival gets, you have the chance of people kind of running the festival circuit sequentially.
Yep.
But pretty much festivals, Right. You pay, you got to fly the band in. So it's obviously it's a larger cost.
I'm looking at this, like the record companies, they're a great band.
Yep.
I've never heard of Tommy Burnett All-Stars Cavalcade of Scoundrels. Never.
Yeah. Who's Tommy Burnett? Yeah.
But that's always a fun one.
Yeah.
You know, Eggy was one that someone wrote me about how excited they are for Eggy.
It's awesome. Even like the two bands, the Vandaliers and the Jackknives, who are opening.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, a lot of people won't know who they are, but when they see them, they're like, that band was a lot of fun. Like, every band, which we're going to have a Spotify playlist released in days, once I take the time to do it. But like every band's good. Every band has good songs. It's and every band's good live. And that's a big thing too. Like, someone on the radio the other day was like, oh, Joan Jett, she's got to be an old grandma now. Well, first of all, Joan Jett's definitely not a grandma to start, but
she's not your grandma.
Yeah, because she never had kids, let alone so her kids never had kids. Just look up a YouTube video, just type Joan Jett 2024 and just watch her live.
Yeah.
And tell me she's a grandma. You know what I mean? She's 66 years young. She's amazing.
She's great. And matter of fact, the Sunday Night Football theme is based on I hate being in love with you or something like that. I hate myself for loving you is the Sunday Night Football theme.
Is it?
Okay. That's what they took. And in one year, she came out and sang it with Carrie Underwood.
Really?
Yeah. But this is always one of my favorite jams. Yeah. She's gonna come and rock. Yeah.
In Irondequoit, in a park in Irondequoit.
Why do people have what good is gonna come from saying? You know, you remember the old adage, if you have nothing nice to say,
don't say.
I wouldn't have a job if I didn't have anything nice to say, you know, if all I said was nice stuff. But I mean, what's the point of that?
I think too, there's an assumption that like legacy acts is like synonymous with washed up.
Yeah.
And sure, like
Joan Jett opened the door for a lot of people, man. You know, that's the thing. It's a little respect.
Yeah, she is not, I mean, she is fully on all cylinders, if not better. And her band, the Blackhearts. I mean, it's like, again, just come to the show and you'll see.
Well, as a co-sponsor, so I'm assuming now, right now it's in a great spot down by the lake in Durant Eastman Park.
Yep.
I got to think that, and not to get too far ahead of ourselves, and we'll be all over the place in this conversation a little bit, but how do you see it like in 5 years? Like the vibe and stuff. I you've got to go beyond this in your head. I got to think.
Yeah, I mean a little bit, but I'm like
one at a time.
I think that we just get through this year and see how Rochester responds. But I think Tommy and I felt like there's this void in what we're creating. You know, it's like Rochester's a festival city, but there's no like actual rock being, of course, country, jam, punk, anything. You know, it's like, but actual rock. Festival, there's nothing like it. There's not this whiskey tasting experience.
Nope.
So I'll know on Friday. That's when tickets go on sale.
Tickets go on sale. And you can get the early bird tickets through May.
Yeah, through the end of May.
Through the end of May. And they're great prices.
Yeah.
I saw the prices. They were great. The the 4-day double tent cigar or 3-day, excuse me.
3-day, which is there's
it's gonna feel like 4 after all the whiskey drink.
Yeah, no, well, no, it's funny. One of my things I want to be the reason everyone in Rochester takes off of work on that Monday.
Isn't that great?
What I mean? Like that's the goal, but have it be a killer weekend. But the pricing, it is a good price, but it's like I've never seen anyone who had a first year, now second year festival get the amount of sponsors that Tommy got.
Yeah.
So we'll always throw out the names of sponsors because like they essentially are subsidizing ticket prices and allowing us to create this big, massive thing the first year without sponsors.
Who's supplying all the tents and stuff?
Yeah. Some company.
The McCarthy.
We hired a company out of Buffalo. Yeah.
So, all right. How does the pitch go to Irondequoit to say, hey, this is an idea we want, and or how did you even find the spot? Maybe we should start there.
Right.
Like,
so it's weird that like when we started like looking for spots, we realized like with what we're trying to do, we're like, oh my gosh, yeah, there's a lot of places in Rochester, but nothing's fitting like this vibe of what we want, right? Like, and I like obviously like we've had a lot of luck with the Holiday Village downtown. It's a great event.
Yep.
Parcel 5, but like there's things about it that are limiting, particularly the number of people you can get in there.
Right, Highland Bowl.
I love Highland Bowl, Highland Park, but it's like first of all just doing work. It's an amazing park. Lilac Festival is an amazing event, but like it is very challenging to build that as a site,
right? And
actually try to get more than a few thousand people in there.
Okay. So that's a lot of your knowledge that you're bringing to this.
Just because I've been, you know what I mean? And then
doing all the time.
Really sit here and think about it though. Like, think about it, I'm like, okay, the Dome Marina parking lot. No, like,
right.
I'm just like, and then I was like, Oktoberfest has not been a thing in Irondequoit since 2019. And actually the idea started with, I'm like, let me go check it out. And then I saw there's massive soccer fields in the back, which I knew my first question, and we'll get into this later, would be, can these soccer fields be used for parking? Because they are like solid, like it's actually just like 2 inches of dirt and then stone. They're solid fields. So I'm like, okay, we got this one area with all this infrastructure. There's just simple things like running water.
Yep.
Even if it's only a few hose spigots, having running water at a festival, I believe the power there from Oktoberfest is 800 amps of power.
Okay.
There's lodges. There's actual like brick and mortar bathrooms. They just put in like brand new bathrooms. So there's these things that a lot of other places aren't available. And that's kind of how it started. But my idea was, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to the town of Irondequoit and say, we want to do this festival, but then why don't you piggyback on us and you can bring back Oktoberfest?
Yeah.
Was the idea. And then I found out who I had to call and I kind of presented it and they were interested right away, but they said, you know, for whatever reason, it's like Oktoberfest kind of like it did its thing. It ran its course, but they're like, but we're really excited about your event and we're all in, you know what I mean? And they were all in to the point that they're giving us enough support that they're the title sponsor.
The town of Irondequoit.
Town of Irondequoit.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Man, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it's an underutilized space.
100%.
It's totally. You're right. I don't even know if Irish Fest happens anymore. They used to do nothing.
Yeah, nothing happens there now.
Why?
Right.
Just since COVID.
Just since COVID. I think COVID did a lot of good things for some people, some businesses, and it also killed a lot of things. I mean, even in my industry, in a lot of businesses, people were already like almost retired. And when COVID hit, they're just like, I'm done.
Yeah.
A lot of people just like close up shop.
Yeah.
And I think that producing events, the cost, especially for events that the entry was a low fee, if not free, everything's got too expensive.
Right. It did. Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this, I think this is just such a cool, to me, I feel like you keep talking about a vibe. What is the vibe? Because I'm looking at it, it's more that jam band hanging out. It has a vibe to it. You're right.
Yeah.
But you're looking for space that matches that. What is that vibe to you how would you describe it? I guess.
The vibe to me, which I would stick with, like Tommy's original vision, which his tagline would be cultivate the uncommon. And unfortunately, the uncommon these days are, in the world of Amazon, Starbucks, Walmart is actual just, handcrafted beer, which by the way, we have a free beer tasting at the event.
Really?
If you have a general admission ticket, it's free beer tasting. But local food, local crafts makers. We're gonna have up to 20 crafts makers. It's all funky, local made trinkets, things that actually Tommy, they do a craft show, I think every quarter at Iron Smoke. And also just the whiskey makers, like we actually, some of the distillers are big and that's really exciting, but there's also a lot of just small shops, especially out of New York State.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Tommy's always been, and I'm sure you will step right into this too, supportive of the local community, right? In terms of, he'll ask you to buy the whiskey, if you like Iron Smoke whiskey, from a liquor store because it helps the local liquor store owner instead of, and he goes, I'll actually charge you more if you buy it from the distillery.
Right.
Which I always thought was like, I'm like, man, that is pretty cool.
That's
I think. Yeah, it is, right? Yeah. And I love the idea of bringing everybody together with all these different, there's something about that whole community. And I don't know if I know you've been around a lot of these festivals and things, like the beer tastings and stuff. Yep. There's something about that community where, when I was in radio, we wanted to attack the other guy. There were these street fights. I once had when I worked at CMF, they had a bat light. We bought a bat light and it would beam the CMF logo, right? And I'm 20, I'm younger than my kids are. And I'm driving this mobile home rock and roll and I go up to a Nerve event and I flash the light out.
The Nerve.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't thought of that name in a while.
Right. So I'm just showing it like, okay, so there was no togetherness. It was like, we're against each other.
Right.
Then I watched the beer industry and it's like a rising keg floats all kegs because these guys all help each other out. Like, hey, you need help bottling, we can cover your bottling if a machine went down. I'm like, that's a totally different vibe, and it seems to be one that is expanding beyond those industries now.
Agree.
And that's what I love. And to me, this is just a cool, it's like a laid back, cool festival, which I think would be, with the music and stuff you've got, spanning generations, bringing families, hanging out. I mean, I really see that as a really cool thing about it, right? Beyond than just there are certain festivals you're not going to bring your kids to and stuff, but this is one where you go, hey man, you're going to love this music.
I think so. And not only that, like the way we're designing it, it's like the actual drinking experiences are separate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's 21 and over. There's not a massive whiskey tasting, in the middle of like a nursery or like, you know what I mean? It's it's set to the side. But the exciting thing too is like, kind of what you said is what we have in our mind, right? It can be a family event, all these things, but like the exciting thing right now actually is like, we don't know. You know what I mean? We know what we think it's going to be, but we don't know what life it's going to take on. So we're in that like exciting, incubating phase of seeing where it goes.
I don't know if this would be jinxing you if you would think that, but what are your expectations?
In what regard?
For the festival, do you have any? Like a lot of times, man, I always think when you envision it, it's almost like you can exceed that.
Yeah, no, I think it's the old Wayne's World 2 adage. You know what it is, right?
Wayne's World 2. Oh yeah.
If you build it, they will come. Right. I think that's it. Is we're just my initial was just to get everyone's attention and to make this like an actual viable thing in Rochester and people to be like, oh my God, let's book the right bands. Let's start there. But then let's build a whiskey tasting experience like no other, so let's do all these things. But it's like, what are our expectations? I mean, I don't have actual physical numbers in mind or demographics.
Yeah, sure.
I know what numbers work.
Yep.
And we hope we exceed those, but because booking bands is, it's not inexpensive.
No, it's not. Bands. But man, I mean, to unload this, how long did it take to line all this up? Because on the 18th, you came out and all the bands are there. Everything's done.
Yeah.
It's all done.
Yeah.
That's fast.
So we booked our final headliner, Charles Wesley Godwin. He's a great country Americana artist, for Friday night, 5 days before the press conference. 5 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it just takes time. There's, like you said, there's all this routing and all these factors with the bands.
There's a ton.
Or a band might almost be lined up and all of a sudden they're like, you know what, actually we're going to record an album this summer. You know what I mean? There's just so many like personal factors and different people within the band that, there might be someone has a family problem. And all of a sudden it's just like,
right.
They back out. We were actually interested in the Stray Cats. And
Oh,
about a
man.
month in, Brian Setzer
says he's
he can't play guitar, which he's already he recently posted that he's working towards greatness again and getting back on tour. But that was like for me, like the Stray Cats would have been killer.
Love that.
Oh my God, right?
Yeah. I'm a big Brian Setzer, under the Brian Setzer Orchestra and all that stuff. Yeah.
So it all but your question, I mean, about 4.5, 5 months from like starting to reach out to people to actually getting.
Well, I got to tell you, man, I think that I've never done that. Been around a lot of people who have. That seems quick. Yeah. To lock these bands in. Seriously. Like, I don't know what the pitch was. Who's talking to the managers and stuff? Because
you have there's intermediaries. I mean, you have people.
Yeah.
That's a whole world where you let that world do it.
Well, Tommy knows it, and he knows a lot of the guys, and he goes to South by Southwest, and I love his story about. Is he in Park City right now?
Yes.
Yeah, because I spent a lot of time in Park City. Yeah, my uncle was a pilot for Delta. I lived out there for a summer, actually. I skied there and stuff, but I lived there for a summer. It was the greatest summer.
Nice.
Oh,
how long is the ski season there? Is like 8 months?
You can ski till June. You'll see people skiing in June. You'll see a lot of bikinis and stuff because it'll be like, as you go up higher on the mountain, it gets colder, but it's like 50, 60 at the base. People are in bikinis. They're still making snow. They're still, or there's not as many runs open and stuff. Yeah. But he went out there and did the Sundance. He was the band. And then some of the actors would come in and play with the band. So it's like Tommy's got all these great connections too.
Tommy's partied with Lemmy from Motorhead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like,
many people can say that.
Yeah. I'll randomly think of like a band and be like, have you met like so-and-so? And it's like, he's been everywhere, man.
Well, the Stones are like, I'm a huge Stones fan. I love the Stones. And he talked about being backstage and how they kicked a bunch of people out because Mick was coming through to go to his trailer to work out. Yeah. And he's like, they go, nah, man, you can stay. You're cool.
You look cool.
Yeah.
He's got the look.
Yeah. It's just, that's amazing. Like, it is amazing. Yeah. So music for you, jam band guy. I mean, you mentioned Brian Setzer. Yeah. No, okay. So what's the...
No, I would say that so my musical past started with, I got Bon Jovi Slippery When Wet when I was 7.
Okay, yeah.
I think I got Michael Jackson Thriller when I was like 5.
Well, that was a great album though. No matter what anybody says. When I was a kid, you didn't want to be caught with that album. No one listened to it, but it was #1. But
everyone listened to it. Yeah. Definitely like when I really got into music, it was the Guns N' Roses Use Your Illusion, Metallica Black Album time period. Yeah. But then quickly,
2 great albums.
But then quickly went to grunge. But then it was punk rock. Would be like
really like I'm trying to think of.
I mean, it would be like older punk rock too, Ramones, but like definitely like 90s, like Epitaph Records was a big record label, or all that.
So you're from here. Did you do House of Guitars, like the album releases and things at midnight?
I didn't. I was never like, I mean, I love music, but I had friends who did. I had a friend who...
I didn't even know that shit went on, man. I grew up in such a rural town. I came here to college, and my roommate was from here. He loved Pearl Jam. He would go and buy all the imports and stuff, and it's a different world.
Yeah, but that was, punk rock has always been like my main music, but I drive my wife crazy because she was never into that genre. And like the first summer we dated, actually, we did a road trip and went to all over New England, including Boston, where I'm like, oh, we'll go to the Warped Tour. She's like, I've never heard of the Warped Tour. I'm like, I've been going to the Warped Tour for 8 summers in a row. So I'm going to, and it was horrible. It was like an airstrip, like just like stone milling parking lot. And she is just like, I like Fleetwood Mac. Where the hell am I right now? And it was like 99 degrees. It's just funny though, because we were very early in our relationship. So like modern day Heather would be like, we're not fucking going there. We're at it. Like, but like she put up with it because we had just started dating during that phase. Yeah. And so that was, but that's always been my music. But I maintain though that I have a more eclectic taste, I think, than many people. I could listen to a Ramones album than Andrea Bocelli. Yep. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I hear you.
I love classic rock. I like a lot of country, like older country. I like a lot of metal.
Yeah. Do you really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was always more like Black Crowes and the Stones and that sort of thing. The Dead, where I grew up near Woodstock, everybody loved the Dead.
Yeah.
It was to the point with Dead and Bob Dylan. I was like, oh, enough.
Yeah. So I'm and I have no problem admitting to hopefully our growing fan base at Hoochenanny. Like, I'm not a massive jam band guy. I was always friends with a lot of jam band people growing up, but there was always like a cohesiveness with jam band people and punk rock people because it's a similar like identity and love for music that's much stronger than just, I like,
right.
I'm an AC/DC fan, or I'm I think jam band or punk rock, it's like we are in it.
Well, we're in it.
We're all in it.
It's a music thing. It's a music, right? It's about the music and it's about the vibe.
Yeah.
So tickets go on sale Friday
at noon.
Yeah. And where do you go to get them? Right at the Hoochenanny website, or do you?
Yeah, the website links to our ticketing partner.
Okay.
Yep.
And so and that's Hoochenanny whiskeymusicfest.com.
It's Hoochenanny.com.
That's just Hoochenanny.com.
Hoochenanny.com.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I asked these questions.
Yeah.
I should know the answer
It's
already.
All good. It's all good.
Well, I think this is great. Any behind the scenes things so far that you know, I don't know if they're stressful moments or exciting moments, like you know, bands that you thought, holy shit, like, wow.
Yeah. I mean, the stressful moment, was first of all when we just got going on this, and I thought that, reaching out to a booking agent of a band, if you're just Joe Schmo, I knew it would be an uphill battle. But I'm like, you know what? My URL, I mean, I own McCarthyEvents.com, right? So I'm emailing someone from McCarthy Events. I have an event company, and maybe that'll validate me as someone who wants to hire their band. And it was a shocking moment when I was like, oh my God, I am nobody. And I'm like, it was embarrassing the responses I was getting from booking agents. So that was the first moment where I'm like, okay, I need help, which our help actually came from Point of the Bluff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The venue, John Rodenhouse, who's a friend on Keuka Lake.
They have done an unbelievable job. They have Daryl Hall coming.
Yeah. Their lineup this summer is like, I think, the best yet.
Yeah.
And their in-house booking agent, Josh Mascott's his name. John Rodenhouse is like, sure, I'll help you. John Rodenhouse is also a partner at Audio Images, who's the staging company that does Jazz Fest and everything.
Yeah.
So obviously we're hiring audio images for the stage. And he said,
well, they do a great job.
Yeah, they're amazing. So he said, why don't you connect with Josh and he'll help you book bands. And I said it at the press conference. If I didn't have Josh, like I couldn't fathom where I'd be right now.
Yeah.
It would be nowhere good.
Well, I think it's great, but it's using those connections. I mean, a lot of times, you have to rely on your network, man. That's people that nobody can do this stuff alone. You're only going to get so far alone, right? And so Josh, and you're right, they do a great job. I was blown away to see that. It was kind of exciting for me to see that Daryl Hall is coming, because I grew up near Daryl Hall. He used to come into the deli I worked at all the time. Right. And then people started realizing who he was. He was very tall. You couldn't get away from him. And I remember years ago, every like concert, if you're ever looking to go to like a mainstream show, not a festival type thing, they always hold back seats for friends and family.
Yep.
And a lot of times there's not friends and family around here, so that you can buy them day of, and you'll get really good seats at a discounted price. Yeah. So I did. I contacted somebody I knew who knew the drummer in the band or something, and I went to a Hall & Oates show, and I loved it because at some point something went wrong, and Daryl is a hothead. And he kind of is trying to keep it together on stage, but he's looking around, and he's like yelling and gesticulating at people. And I go, that's a musician. Like, I always loved Daryl's House and that sort of thing. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
No.
It's him down in Pauling, New York. And just this jam. And he has different artists come in. Like Styx came in.
Right.
I think Joan Jett may have done one. And they play some Hall & Oates songs or some of their own songs.
A podcast, or where is it?
It was on Access.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Access. But I got to think for this, man, you're going to have social media, all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. We have someone that's managing.
Yeah.
An amazing person who doesn't like me I won't give her credit publicly, because she's like, I just like to work behind the scenes. But anything that's been going on our social media, which we'll plug, obviously, on Instagram is at Hoochenanny. On Facebook is Hoochenanny Whiskey and Music Festival. But she's done an amazing job. And that's like, we went from Tommy got a good start on followers, but I think our followers on both Instagram and Facebook have gone up like 700, 800%.
Yeah.
So,
I think word of this festival, I'm not sure what your what you're seeing on this is people beyond the area.
I hope.
Well, I've heard from people like in the Syracuse area going, man, Aggie is a great band.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's good to hear. Because it is like when you're the guy doing it, like
shit your pants a little bit?
Yeah, you're kind of like, you're watching like, okay, I'm getting, the Facebook followers went up by 900 this week, which is amazing. But you're kind of like,
what does that translate?
How much of the hype, like, is there actual hype around that people are talking about it?
Right.
Or is it just that I think that it's taking off?
I think it's going to take off. I
hope so.
Yeah. I think the whole thing, the whole vibe, the whiskey, the tent, I would recommend to anybody, go to hoochenanny.com, look at all the prices of things and get it before May 31st, just because it's a great price.
It's really reasonable. Yeah, which I can go over. The ticket pricing is $50 for general admission, right? So that's, and I mean, if you look, a lot of club shows these days for a couple hours cost $30 or $40.
Yeah.
So it's $50 for a full day. The whiskey experience, if you want that, is $75 all in. So basically it's your GA's 50 and then 25 extra to do the full whiskey, World of Whiskey experience, and then 150 for VIP. So let me backtrack. The entire festival is all like amenities driven. That's my goal. Like, and it kind of ties back to like year one of the Holiday Village, which I'm an owner of the Holiday Village as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Jenna, me, and Kelly were all partners.
Yeah. Okay. I knew Kelly. I've met her a few times. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's a really well done.
But that's like, we're a perfect partnership because, I mean, they did everything behind the scenes, but I own this infrastructure. So I'm able to take these risks with the rentals where, like, a lot of the time the actual event rentals, the tents is your biggest expense, other than if you're doing, obviously the bands are your biggest expense, but for the Holiday Village, the tents are. But we can kind of take that risk and be like, let's just go for it and let's go big the first year. So that's when people show up and they say, wait, this wasn't even a thing last year. How did they do this? And that's like with Hoochenanny, that's the goal of people showing up at what is just a big open field with some lodges, and all of a sudden there's like PGA style structures everywhere, just with full on hospitality for everybody.
Yeah. What is the goal with McCarthy's events for you? I mean, just as a business, because I know that you, I don't even know really your background. I know my son worked for you for a while, loved the job, raved about you all the time, talked about all your different cars or whatever, because I'm kind of a car guy.
Well, no, I have one car. I bought a Maserati, and it's not even, and I actually I'm trying to sell it right now. So if anyone listening wants to buy a Maserati.
Yeah. What year?
I don't know. It's like 22. It's
really?
Quattros. It's not a crazy one.
Okay.
But
I'm familiar with that.
But I'm ready to move on.
Yeah. What are you going to get next?
I have a Rivian.
Oh, the Rivian I really like too.
Cool.
Yeah. I've never driven one. I've seen them for a lot down by my mom. She lives in Rhinebeck, New York. So there's a ton of them.
They're so nice. They're so fast. So
smooth. And it's electric, right?
Boogie woogie.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's the way it is.
Yeah. So, but as far as my goals, I don't know, man. So I started the company in 2007, but it's like, I guess I say I'm kind of a sucker for the next adventure, right? So like once we've like,
do you say you're a risk taker?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you got to be.
Oh, I got to be on the edge. I got to be like, if this doesn't work, I might go bankrupt. Like I don't know what, but then like when it gets really risky, I'm like, oh, this sucks, and then I get through it. Then I'm like, oh, that was cool. This worked. This worked. Okay, good. Yeah, like even McCarthy Tents and Events. I mean, we never like dreamed of it. I have 85 year-round employees now. I mean, when I first started,
85 what?
Year-round employees.
Oh, I thought I heard 8,500. I wanted to make
8,500 year. Yeah, no,
85 year-round.
Yeah, which I thought 10, 15 maybe
for a year-round of a tent company where we have long winters.
And think about, so the summer, I mean, we ballooned to like 150, 175.
Yep.
So that kind of just, I mean, that kept doing its thing. But I've kind of just done these other little side things along the way.
What other little side things? Like, I mean, granted, like the Hoochenanny, but and the Holiday Village.
We started right before COVID. Me and two of the guys who work with me, I wanted to give everyone an opportunity. So I'm like, I'm going to start a new business. Who wants to buy in? And two people raised their hands. It was a restroom trailer company. Yeah, like really fancy, like restroom trailers.
Are those the ones I see at like Bill's training camp and stuff? They're air conditioned.
Yeah.
I love those.
Which we'll have those for the VIPs at Hoochenanny, of course.
Okay.
But yeah, we started that and we got through one season. COVID hits and we're like, ugh. And then we started building a bunch of COVID test sites that needed not only tents, but the restroom trailers. So then the restroom trailer company like just took off. And long story short, we did that. And then we sold it last year.
You did?
Yep. Yeah, to another local company. So that was cool. And I actually, this is a random one. I'm not a franchisee. I guess I'm a supplier of a product called Evolution Dome. They're inflatable event products based out of the UK that I teamed up with them in 2018. So that's a separate company, Evolution Dome US, where we do these. It's indoor and also outdoor, like mainly for like trade shows or like cool activations, like Porsche in Paris does like these inflatables that our UK branch does that. So that's another thing on the side that one of my employees bought in. So we do that together. I'm actually going to Orlando to do a big job this weekend.
And you go and set these up?
Yeah, we go and set them up. Yeah. So we ship them down, and it's a lot of it's like just like funky indoor, like inflatable walls, inflatable pods.
How did this all begin for you? Like the tents and things. Were you working for somebody throughout, like let's say high school or something?
Right after high school. Yeah. Throughout college.
Because you're not okay. Yeah, I was gonna say you're a young guy.
I'm 44.
Yeah, it's young.
Yeah.
You know.
Is it?
Well, I'm 10 years older than you, so
all right.
That's we're looking at it that way. But I love the attitude.
Yeah.
Of just, hey, let's see what happens.
Yeah, I think just
mostly positive for you. Are you mostly like? Would you be a more of an optimistic than pessimistic person? That's how that shit works.
Half full.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like but I just I mean, it was my wife who suggested I should start my own company.
Yeah.
After doing it for 8 years for other people, I went to college. So I also went to college. Went to grad school to be a social studies teacher.
No shit.
Yeah. So, and that never happened, which is, it's okay.
Yeah.
Because I pursued being a tent guy.
Yeah.
Instead.
Right. But but there is an element of teaching to this too.
Yeah.
Right. You've got that patient, cool vibe about you that I think is
sometimes more now, way more now. But like, I mean, when I first started the company, I was like, I was always fun and I think friendly enough, but I was more high strung and like just like really just like getting it going. You know what I mean? So
it's a grind when you're starting something from nothing.
It's a grind.
It is. You're pulling a piano up the side of a building, man.
And it's a lot easier. I mean, now we have so many good people. We have so much machinery and all these things we do. Like when the young guys complain, I'm like, you got no idea how hard it was, kid.
Right. But are you the type of person that can let go? And when I say let go, it's like let somebody else do things, or do you need to be kind of hands-on? Because I was always hands-on, and I'm seeing if you want to grow, you got to let other people do other things.
So the answer to that currently is very much yes. It wasn't like that. Like I had my hands in everything, from like 2007 to really like 17, 18, 19.
Yeah.
Like where like I knew what was happening every day, what jobs, deliveries here, there, everything. But now it's like, I mean, my core guys are also people I've been friends with like since way before, we started McCarthy Tents and Events.
Okay.
And I've definitely in the last 4 years, like, let people do their things and trust them. I remember in 2010, I went to Hawaii where I was supposed to get engaged. I got engaged the day I got home. That's another story for another day. But I was so stressed out when I went to Hawaii, and it was like October. So our season was already winding down.
Yeah.
And I was like calling nonstop. And now, like, if I go to like Europe now, I see you.
Yeah.
And I'm out. And I won't hear from anyone unless something's going on.
Right. Well, it's better not to. No news is good news.
Correct.
Right.
But I also feel like, I mean, the path I was on for a lot of years where I was so like into it wouldn't have been sustainable. Like it was like, I still had fun. Like, and I honestly enjoyed working so much and I loved doing tents that like when I first started, other than in the winter, I truly worked 7 days a week. Like even up, like when my kids were born in 2013 and 15, like I still in the summers, I work 7 days a week.
Wow.
Like always.
Yeah.
Always. Never stopped.
And you enjoy doing that.
I did enjoy doing that.
Now, say I'm having a graduation or something and I want a 10.
Yep.
Should I have booked already?
No, because we have we have a lot of inventory now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got that whole how many warehouses do you have?
We have
2?
Well, it's kind of weird. So we have 2 properties that there's 2 warehouses at each. We had the Henrietta warehouse we bought in 2015. That was our forever home. Because again, I never dreamed that things would keep going the way they were. So by 2019, I'm like, oh my God, our forever home is bursting at the seams. So we did an addition there. And then 2 years after that, the owner of Nolan's Rental in Webster approached me to purchase Nolan's Rental, which we did. And then so he has 2 warehouse, 2 buildings right behind Baytown Plaza.
Yeah.
Really nice location.
That is a nice location.
Really
actually.
nice.
Yeah, because it's right off of Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? So just in terms of like just turnover and equipment, and you've got, I mean, you're in there, tents get damaged sometimes, weather, people taking them down improperly, all this.
Yeah, everything. Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's a constant, I mean, there's constant upkeep of equipment. But something I've always been dedicated to is you just got to keep selling off old equipment and buy new.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that's a good way to do.
It's never ending, but also like even I think if a lot of people who are I'm interested in different industries to see how they function. If people saw like our tent wash area, it's a 5,000 square foot room with massive tent washers, like huge barrels, like 15 by 15 foot wide barrels that spin back and forth and wash tents. It's like all sealed and everything, few hundred gallons of water, 4 different cycles, 2 wash, 2 rinse. And we actually have a massive conveyor system that hangs the tents, that it's literally, you just attach pieces of vinyl and it just hangs from the ceiling for days and then comes down.
Yeah.
And it's all a continuous conveyor. It's kind of like a dry cleaner where it goes up on one end and it eventually makes its way back around. We have, it's 700 feet.
I never knew how any of that stuff went.
It's crazy. But the thing about the tent industry too, is a lot of the developments and technologies are actually developed by rental houses. Like this was a company in Miami, a huge rental company called Diamondette, that the owners were kind of like had this conundrum of like, as they got big, so they developed conveyors where it zigzagged back and forth from their ceiling, and they made
necessity is the mother of invention, man.
And
I mean, that's it.
And then people were like, whoa, that's cool. So then they started selling them nationally. So they go around the country installing them at tent warehouses. So
wow.
Look
at, but Sean, I had no idea about you. Like, I knew about you through my son, and then I had gone to your party, and I saw. I've never been to an employee party where the employees like never wanted to leave.
Yeah,
everybody won stuff, and you gave stuff away. Yeah. It was amazing, and but all these ideas and things, and different businesses, and let's see how it works, and all that. That's the idea. That's the way I think to live. And this Hoochenanny thing is an extension of exactly that.
It's I think people see kind of like everything that's happened, and it's like, oh, he's must be confident in everything he does, and it's actually not true. Like I'm always like, I didn't grow up like with crazy success. I mean, my parents, like, I had a great life in Fairport, amazing life, but like all the crazy stuff I do, that wasn't part of our life. So like, I'm always waiting. Like, I'm like, when am I going to like just fall on my face? You know what I mean? I'm always waiting, and I'm always like, bad things are right around the corner, and failure could happen. So even with Hoochenanny, I'm like, I think it's going to be a home run. I think it's going to be great. And then sometimes, in the back of your mind, you're like, what if it just doesn't resonate? You know what I mean?
Boy, there's been a lot of people who have sat in that chair. One you may know, Charlie Fitzsimmons. Yeah. And I knew Charlie from the radio days, and he says that all the time about the restaurant business. Like, there are days I wake up and I go, what the fuck did I get myself into? And he's opening up in Boston and doing all this. And it's, these guys that you have huge success, but you're just waiting, and the rest of us look at it and go, damn, that is impressive as hell. I think. But
every time you do it, you put a lot on the line.
Yeah.
It's like I happen to also be finishing building a house on the canal right now, right down the way. So it's like, you got all these eggs.
Wait, that's your house?
Yeah.
Wait, which one? It's not the dwelling.
No. It's right across, where the rowing club is, right by Fairview Lanes.
Yeah.
It's across the canal from there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's like, I got that, I think my wife's like, oh, you couldn't have picked the worst time. Cause now it's like, we're building this whole like festival and taking a risk there, but we're also finishing building the house. So it's like,
You don't like you get bored easily, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, no, it's like, well, I am just like, on any given day, I always, this is a fault of mine. I'm always like, I always feel like I could do more. Like I do, I do a lot of stuff, but I'm always like,
Yeah.
I always feel like I could do more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of like what just keeps me going. Cause
Well, give me real quick without trying to sound too nerdy or anything, but what is a typical day for you? What time does it start? Where does it go?
so yeah, during the week, I'll abuse myself all day if I don't wake up at 5:30 to go to the gym in Paradise Square.
Yeah.
Which I work out with some guys there in a class. Great gym. So that's like just from 6 to 6:55. And then recently, I'm thankful for this. Because we're in transition, I go home, take a quick shower, and drive my daughter to Joanna Parent to the middle school because even though we're not in that district yet, she will be next year. So, which that's a new thing for me too. Is I used to just, when I left the house in the morning, it was just go work. And now I'm like, all right, I gotta step back here. And then in the summer, I have a habit of going to our Henrietta location more and going on the road.
Yeah. Oh, you like to go on the road?
I
and
do.
Still set them up.
Yeah, I still go on the road. Yeah. Last year,
make the workers nervous.
No. Because I just, a lot of people are like, oh, you shouldn't be working in your business. You should be working on it. And I'm just like, you know what? I also work on it. I feel pretty good about where it's at, but like,
I need to see.
I want to be in the mix, and I want to like be with my customers, and that's part of it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
In the winter, I have a habit of going to our Webster warehouse more often. Where this winter, I was honestly, this Hoochenanny deal is like
the big thing. Yeah,
this is it. Yeah. But I think it was also a product of once we bought Nolan's around 2022. So there was so much work to do to figure out just getting the companies together and all that. But then like kind of once we got through that, and it took 2 years to really let the dust settle, and I was just kind of like, well, what next?
Yeah. What next?
So yeah, I mean, so that's
no, the what next thing, but that's a lot. So the Hoochenanny's got to have taken most of your attention throughout.
Yeah. For
even
sure.
the holidays.
Yeah, but no, I mean, once I'm like, again, like if I go somewhere, like,
yeah, I'm
kind of like, I don't think about much now. I'm
okay.
just like, I'm out. If I got to get on a call, I will.
Yeah.
If we go on a vacation or whatever. But I think that once this is built and we kind of prove ourselves this first year, I think it's still going to be a lot of effort every year and kind of keep growing it and see where it goes. But a lot of the legwork is getting done this year, where you kind of figure it all out.
How did you figure out like the layout when you're talking about, because there is the double tent, right? The VIP tent,
2-story tent.
You want to be in the VIP, folks. That's where you want to be. You really do.
I think that'll do well.
Summertime, it's probably air conditioning in there.
Bird's eye view of the
100%.
stages, sit down servers, everything. But the goal also is
really,
wow. Yeah, but I'm just making all this up as I go along. No, we got all. I mean, we're working with caterers.
But do you have at McCarthy's events? Do you have like I could get tents and glasses and things if I were doing? Let's say it's a wedding, right? Then you do all that.
Yeah, we do. Everything that a caterer would need.
Yep, is all provided.
Is all provided by us.
Okay.
Yep.
And then you've got the caterers coming in, and there's going to be sit down service in this.
Yeah, the double decker. Yeah.
Damn, that's a great price.
Dedicated bars.
Yeah.
All right, I know. You got to pay for the food and the booze.
Okay.
Yeah, but you're still like it's the life of luxury.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where you want to be.
And it's a 2-story tent, like overlooking the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you get a special lanyard that says VIP? Seriously, people love that.
Yeah. That's so like we're getting through the big picture stuff now. But what's exciting for Tommy too is like, what's the fun like little frilly like things we're gonna do, or like doing like we're trying to develop the Hoochenanny sideshow where it's like we already have all these cool things, right? Like food, whiskey, bands, all this. But then it's like, but let's do a Hoochenanny sideshow where it's like a guy walking on stilts or a flamethrower, or like all these other things that's all in the works.
My brother,
too.
He juggles fire.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
He went to clown college.
I love that. Yeah, so that's like those are the unknowns too, where we're like, it's already going to be memorable, but how do we like take it even further and have all this fun, wild stuff happening too?
What about I'll ask, and I don't know, but you think of things like the PGA, they have volunteers. Are you looking for people to pull this off, right? In terms of
yeah.
parking and I don't know.
And people can write us through the website.
Okay.
We've already got a lot of volunteer inquiries.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yep. Yeah, so it's like, obviously the trade-off is like, I love to volunteer, but I also like a free pass, and
Yes.
that's understandable.
Yes.
But people can definitely reach out to us. And that's also, we're still laying out like site logistics of how many people are needed in all these different spaces, info
Right.
booths, water, ticketing.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. It is a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
All right. But you seem happy that you did it.
Yeah.
Or you're doing it.
Well, I'm just excited to see what's going to happen next.
Yeah. Well, I think that needs to be on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
On a McCarthy t-shirt. I'm
Right.
excited to see what happens next.
Well, so the LLC name, because it's the DBA, which is doing business as Hoochenanny Whiskey, but the LLC is, but wait, there's more.
I like that.
That's because my wife's just like, what's next? But wait, there's more LLC registered.
Does she ever think I wasn't sure what I was signing up for, but I didn't think it was going to be all this.
I think she always is like, what's the next? She definitely says to people like, I've always just wondered what he's going to do next.
Yeah. I think that's a great thing.
Yeah.
And so far it seems to have worked out better than I expected.
I mean, our first date, I picked her up. I was shirtless and I wasn't wearing shoes. I don't know why. Yeah, I wasn't even I wasn't like a big macho guy when I was younger. Like I didn't even work out when I was like 25 years old.
This is amazing.
And I took her on tours of I worked for another company at the time, and I took her on tours of tents I set up around Rochester. I swear to God, that was our first date. and she was like, she's thinking we're going out to dinner, and I'm like, there's no dinner. At the end of the tour, I'm like, let's go to the 12 Corners Convenience in Brighton and pick up some deuces of Bud Light or something and drink them in Cobb's Hill.
Yeah.
And that's what we did.
And that's what you did. Yeah. But no shirt, no shoes. You can't get in there. She have to go to buy the stuff.
Yeah, it was all good. I think I walked in without a shirt on.
Really?
I swear to God.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's such a hippie vibe.
Yeah. I'm not even a hippie.
No, I know you're not.
What a hippie move.
And that's not really, that's not fair to say hippie vibe, because I think hippie gets a bad thing, but it is a very relaxed, confident person. Not necessarily show off. I don't think that, but confident. And that's comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in the summertime, I prefer if I'm at the lake, I'm no shirt. I don't have a shirt on ever.
Yeah.
Preferably no shoes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
the
way it is. Yeah. Well, maybe that's will that be the Hoochenanny outfit? No shirt, no shoes.
No problem.
No problem. Yeah. Sean, it's been a pleasure. Get to Hoochenanny.com. Get the tickets. They go on sale Friday at noon.
Friday at noon.
Yep. That's the day after tomorrow. So that would be March 28th.
Yep.
March 28th at noon.
Big day.
Yeah, it is a big day.
Yeah. And we think, it's we got a good capacity at the park, but I think some of the days, especially if they really resonate with you,
what time does it all the gates open and stuff?
Yeah,
noon?
It's a really good question. So just the way the timing worked out, Friday and Sunday are 2 to 10.
Okay.
I joked Sunday we have to open late because everyone has to go to church.
Yeah.
To repent for what they did the night before at our festival. Saturday is noon to 10.
Okay.
So Saturday will be the big day. The World of Whiskey is open till 7, I believe, each day.
Okay.
Yep.
Right,
Same thing with free beer tasting.
Yeah.
Obviously, food vendors will be open.
Just those timings and all, figuring all that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's how much is too much, and how much is too much also for the vendors that are involved. You know what I mean? What works? What's the fine medium that will make everyone happy?
I think this could become such a big thing, and it what I love about it is it helps the area, right? Hotels, restaurants, even campsites, whatever that people are going to go to be at this.
Yeah, I mean, even our hotel sponsors, Indus Hospitality, he owns the Hampton Inn, actually, right over here on 441.
Yep.
Downtown Hampton Inn, and the Holiday Inn Express, which, but it's the Holiday Inn Express is pretty much sold out for the weekend because we have to house all the
bands and stuff.
Yeah, and the vendors coming in and everything. So it's I think the goal is for it to be good. Even the vendors coming in, I mean, it's our World of Whiskey. It's almost all outside vendors. So between those vendors, artisans coming in that travel around, food people, it's going to be hundreds of people. That will need accommodations.
Right. And plus all the people coming to see the music and stuff.
Correct.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Get those tickets, Hoochenanny.com. And if you need any kind of hospitality tents or catering stuff, it's all at McCarthy events, right?
I'm the guy.
It's all right there. It's a wonderful thing. And if someday at Hoochenanny you can bring in this guy, I would love it. John Hyatt.
All right.
I love this song. It's
Check it out.
Tennessee Plates. It's like his little tribute to Elvis. Sean, thank you. I'm Bill Moran. We'll see you tomorrow.
I woke up in a hotel, didn't know what to do. I turned the TV on, wrote a letter to you.